What up, Coach? The audio connected.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear. What's up, Coach?
Oh, we all good then. We all good. I got you.
What's going on, sir?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much, man. Just trying to hang tight. That's about it.
Man, it's crazy, man. This COVID thing, man. I heard, I got the notification from Greg Abbott that they finna start opening up some things. How things over there in Alabama?
It's a gradual process. It's a gradual process, man. They starting to open up some things gradually, man. But I still think people are still, being cautious, which they should. So I think it's gonna be a long time before we get back to normal.
Man, Coach, I think so too, man. Just doing some research, man. I think we need to sit tight. I love the game, but I love life a little bit more better.
Ain't no doubt about that. I think safety's a little bit more important than basketball. I'm gonna pick health over basketball all day because if you're not healthy, you can't play or coach.
Exactly, man. So, I know we kind of met. We met when we both seen Morgan Williams take care of the Big Giant. So we met at the Final Four. How many years ago was that, Coach?
Man, had to be what, three? Maybe three or four. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was either 3 or 4.
Yeah, man, that was. I remember I came up to you, just started talking. We kind of just kicked the vibe off of it, man.
Yeah, it was organic, which is how it should be. When you a basketball junkie, you can tell when you meet another basketball junkie. So the conversation just flowed from there.
Yes, sir. So, man, kind of tell us where you at. Tell us about your background, basketball. Your rich history.
I don't know how rich it is, but I share it with you. Well, I'm at Auburn right now, man. I'm going into my 9th year. Been here, like I said, for 9 years, man. Enjoying it, man. We came in 2012, so we're going into 2020-21, man. Been coaching overall women's basketball. This is going into my 19th year. I also coached a men's professional team over in Norway for a year back in 2002. So also coached middle school basketball, boys and girls. I've been at the varsity level, boys in high school, assistant coach in high school. So I've been coaching for a while, man. I'm from Wisconsin originally. So I started out coaching, like I said, 8th grade middle school boys and girls and high school in Wisconsin. And then from there, I went to St. Louis. That was my first Division I women's coaching job.
Got you, man. So you played some ball in your time, man. From what I understand, you got a winning pedigree, right?
Oh yeah. I played a little bit, man. It's interesting, man. I was having this conversation with a friend the other day. I said, you know what? I said, in all my years of playing basketball from age 5 through, I think I finished in Taiwan. I think I was 26 or 27. I've never had a losing record, never had a losing record. Yeah, I started at University of Richmond. I was there for 2 years and then I transferred back to a small school back home in Wisconsin. But when I was at Richmond, I was a part of that first 15th seed to be the 2nd seed. We beat Syracuse in the first round of the tournament back in '91. So got a little bit of a winning pedigree, a little bit.
Interesting, man. So, what made you pick up the ball and be like, this is my wife for right now?
Nah, for life, bro. Yeah, I love it, man. It's something about that ball, man. Even right now when I pick it up, it gives me a feeling that nothing else gives me, other than my kids. But it's something, man. I can't shake it. It's a love affair, a real one. I just love that basketball, man. It's nothing like it, bro. Nothing like it. And it was like that from age 5. And I played baseball, I played football, but those are my side chicks. I've been married to basketball for a long time, and I always came back. Always. I can't shake it.
So it was just something. Did anybody influence you? You just picked it up and like, You just felt that magical touch about it.
Nobody really influenced me, man. Growing up, like I said, when I was coming up, you played everything. You played football during football season. You played baseball during baseball season. You would, race your friends, outside. So that's considered track, and then you played basketball. So growing up, what's crazy is I was probably better in baseball growing up. My father played baseball, and then he started playing softball forever. So I grew up around baseball as well. And then I would probably say football was probably my second sport that I was probably the best at, so basketball was probably third, but when I got to like sixth, seventh grade, man, like I said, I kept going back to it, when I got a little taller, and I always had an innate understanding of the game, and I always worked on my game. So, it's just something that, man, I fell in love with at a young age, man. And then once I saw a future in it, I just stuck with it, man. And it's been with me ever since.
That's what's up, man. So, in your playing career, coaching career, um, anybody that stands out, any accomplishments or anything like that that stands out, but like, man, I got a ring, got a championship, I helped this kid get or this player get to that ultimate level of professional or anything like that?
That's a great question because for me, and this is going to hope it don't sound arrogant, but because I've always won, I never lost until I was like in ninth grade. So I'm used to winning. I'm used to playing in championships. So I almost kind of expected it. I wasn't a part of a losing team probably until my second or third year coaching in college. It took me a while to be able to deal with it because I didn't understand the mentality, but it's helped me become a better coach because to be a coach, you have to understand that kind of mentality so you can bring that type of mentality to where you want it to go, which is on the winning side. So I had to learn that, man, which sounds crazy. I literally had to learn a losing mentality so that I can coach from that perspective to get them to where I want them to go. In terms of a basketball accomplishment, with me, man, I mean, being a part of that 15th seed team to beat Syracuse, that was huge. That was huge looking back. And I still got great relationships, with those guys now. A lot of those guys are still in basketball. One of my teammates, he's the lead assistant for the Chicago Bulls right now. I got one that's been an NBA official probably for about a decade. I got a bunch of them who has daughters who are now playing in college. One's playing at Northwestern. She started this year at Northwestern. So through that experience, man, I was able to cultivate and develop a lot of relationships that I still have to this day. But with me, in terms of coaching, man, it's all about the process. With me, it's all about the process, man. I just love the process because if the process is right, then winning becomes a byproduct of that, and sometimes there's lessons to be learned in losing as well. So you got to fall in love with the process. So that's what I'm about.
It's really interesting, Coach, because I was a part of the similar situation, coming from a winning program, putting banners up, winning championships. And I was a part of a program that had a losing mentality, losing culture. And I was like, man, it made my skin itch and irritate it. And
yeah.
And one of the things you mentioned that I'm like, I understand the process. I had to stop looking at the record and start looking at how to get away from that record. And one of the success stories I just had, one of the kids that was there, I coached her as a freshman, and she actually, we helped her sign her scholarship, man. She signed a scholarship. She going to Colorado from Texas. So she got an athletic and an academic scholarship. So I think that's what you look at when you're in a losing, non-winning culture. You have to be like, okay, so your vision, your creativity, your imagination has to take place. How can I get out of this situation?
Oh, I'm telling you, man, just to add to what you said, man, it's like I said, once I learned that, because I fought it for a while, because I just didn't realize people had a losing mentality because I've never really been around it. So I'm looking at, I'm thinking to myself, you really don't think you can win? Like, I don't know what that feels like to step on the court. I don't care who it is. Once that ball goes up, I feel like I got an opportunity. I worked Michael Jordan's camp right before my freshman year at Richmond. This is the year before he won his first championship. So this is prime Mike. The year before he won his first championship, the summer of '90. So I worked this camp for 3 weeks straight. You know, roommates Jimmy Jackson, you know, longtime NBA player Jimmy Jackson. He was a counselor. He was a counselor with me. Allen Houston, Rick Fox, Mike Hopkins, who's the head coach at Washington right now. We would go at it every single night from Sunday to Thursday. Scottie Pippen would come play, B.J. Armstrong. But my point is, here I am, an 18-year-old freshman to be going to the University of Richmond. Once that ball goes up, I'm trying to beat Michael Jordan. You know, so fast forward to college, I'm thinking to myself, these girls put their shoes on the same way you do, you know. But I learned, like you said, that word culture is a funny word because before culture, it's behavior. Behavior influences culture. Behavior, body language, expectation, that all influences culture. So once you can change that, then you can change the culture. But I had to learn how to lose to teach them how to win. So it was all a good lesson for me. It made me become a better coach.
And I think what and I might be stepping on some toes, but hey, this is my platform, so it really don't matter. It don't matter to me. So, oh well. But you know what I noticed, man? A decent coach with great players is never works on his talent sometimes. And if you take a group of players that's not that productive, not that skilled, and then you take them from here to here, that shows where you are as a coach.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, no doubt. And I'm gonna go another route. It's hard to coach good players because they don't want to listen. So you got to figure out a way to reach them. That's why Phil Jackson's in the Hall of Fame. Everybody couldn't coach that Chicago Bulls teams, you know. And it's funny because a lot of people look at that and they say, well, anybody could have coached Michael Jordan. Well, Doug Collins did. He didn't get a chip. Stan Albeck, he didn't get a chip. They didn't win 72 games. Now, mind you, I know Pippen had to grow up and they had to make some trades or whatnot, but it's tough to coach talent too because talent doesn't always want to listen. So to become a good coach, you know, like you said, you got to be able to take a group that's maybe not great and formulate a team and make them understand that it's big. There's something about the game that's bigger than them individually. And see if you can mesh all that to form a cohesive unit to put yourself in a position to be successful. But if you got a great team, if you ain't got chemistry, you're just as bad as that bad team with no talent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think my dad told me one thing. He said, man, X's and O's, anybody can get that. He said, but the part about coaching people don't understand is psychology.
Man, bro, preach. It's like teaching. Coaching is synonymous with teaching. I got an education degree. Mm-hmm. You know, when I taught 6th grade for a year, that was my classroom. Well, now the practice court is my classroom. The game is the test. But like you said, anybody can learn a play or learn a system. You can get it off YouTube. You can watch better basketball videos. Mm-hmm. That don't make you a coach. That's easy to do. You can memorize a play, but can you teach them how to play? Can you motivate them to play? And can you motivate them to play together? That's coaching. That's the art of coaching. See, plays and all that, that's the science of coaching. But right, the art of coaching.
Come on now.
The art of coaching is a little bit different, bro. It's a little bit different. And a lot of them don't understand that, you know. But you got to study it, though. It's just like anything, man. If it's your craft, you got to spend time on it, man. You got to study it. You got to read leadership books. You got to understand organizational health. You got to know what silos is so that when you see it, you can get it out of your program. Like, you got to take it seriously. You got to study your craft, bro.
I said honor my craft. And so I'm going to share this with you, man. This is a book I read. Gino Auriemma.
Great book.
And
great book.
In Pursuit of Perfection, man. And boy, when I tell you that's one thing, man, that I mean, come on, he got 11 rings.
Hey, you can't argue with that, bro. You can't argue with them rings. You don't argue with jewelry. 11, that's a little different. Anybody can get 1. There's some that can get 2. 11, that's a little different. And that's why I don't throw the word GOAT around a lot, because everybody can't beat it. You can't have 5 GOATs. It's not called the GOATs. It's called the GOAT. So how can you call 3 people the GOAT? The greatest of all time. That's what the GOAT means, right? He makes a pretty good argument. He makes a pretty good argument. Him, Pat Summitt, pretty good arguments.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is, man. So what made Auburn be like, man, this is where I'm at. I'm loving it. and kind of go into the how relationships play a big part of it, man. Just that profession.
You just answered my question. I mean, your question. That's the only reason why I'm here. I mean, no disrespect to Auburn. Auburn's a great institution. I mean, everybody knows that. Has a national brand. People would love to work at Auburn. There's great people here. It's family oriented. But if you don't like the people you're working with, you're not going to enjoy the experience. You know, so I had a great relationship with Coach Flo. We've been knowing each other for a while. I worked with her at Georgetown for a couple of years. Met her years before when she was at Southwest Missouri State, and I was at St. Louis. We met on the road recruiting, developed a relationship, and it just kind of grew from there, man. So that's why I'm here. The only reason why I'm here. I'm all relationship oriented, bro.
That's what's up, man. So talk to me. I mean, you've been in the game. So what's some of the pitfalls from a coaching standpoint? Be like, man, I can't. Some things just don't work. It's like your characteristics, your traits, who you are, and what's some of those things that you be like, that's a pitfall from coaches. Their career goes from here downward from a coach and from a player standpoint. What do you see?
Well, from a coaching standpoint, man, it's kind of like what we were talking about before, man. I think what's really missing, especially at this level, you don't have junkies anymore. You know, you don't got people that really love the game, you know, and it shows because, to be quite honest, the games is boring. The majority of them are boring. I can't watch the majority of them. I don't have to turn on the TV to tell you that they're going to start to play with a ball screen, end it with a ball screen. Everybody else is standing around. I mean, it's boring. There's no innovation. That's why I don't really watch a lot of it right now, because I get bored. But coaches got to do better. But to do better, you got to love what you do, because if you don't love it, you're not going to put the time in it. You're going to do just enough, and then it becomes a job. See, it's not a job for me. I would do this for free, literally, and I've done it for free. So for me, I don't think coaches put the time in. They don't study their craft, bro. Because if they did, the game would look different. That's why I pay more attention to football coaches, because football right now is far more innovative than basketball. Look at the spread offense. I'm trying to tell you, them coordinators, but they junkies, bro. They still writing plays on napkins. They're sharing information. You know, they're junkies. You know, Nick Saban's what, 10, 11 million? He's working like he's making 10,000 because he loves football. They just happen to compensate him quite handsomely, but it doesn't change his passion for the game. A lot of the coaches that I talk to now in women's basketball, I don't know if they'll be in it if they cut the salaries in half, put it that way. So when you have that kind of mentality, the quality of the game suffers because of it. You know, I think the talent level is up there. The talent level is up to par. But I think from a coaching standpoint, we got to get coaches to take the craft more seriously to improve the game. From a player standpoint, I think right now, man, players don't play enough. You know, they don't have that feel for the game. You know, I'm all for training. I think skill development is essential. But how do you know what you need to work on? You got to play. You know, and right now, I don't think players play a lot. And I don't think when they're younger, they don't play other sports. They're too specialized at 6, 7 years old. So what happens is you don't play a lot of sports when you're younger. You know, what you're doing is you're overusing certain muscles, you know, years and years. So when you get to college, you're injury prone. I think studies have shown, I don't have the facts with me right now, but studies have shown that players who play more than one sport growing up, they're less likely to get injured when they get to college because they're developing their entire body and not just overusing certain muscles. So I think kids need to play more sports, man. And there are a lot of sports out there that you will benefit from in terms of basketball if you play them. Some of the best basketball players were soccer players. Look at their footwork. Look at Hakeem Olajuwon, Steve Nash, Luka Doncic, Tony Kukoc. I love soccer players. When I'm recruiting and I see soccer or volleyball or track, I'm like, yes, because that's a different type of athlete. And all those skills are transferable. Soccer and basketball are transferable. I'm telling you.
And you know, you kind of got into the next question I was going to ask is like, what's your criteria of a Lady Tiger? But I think you already said an athlete. But one thing I noticed, man, I'm sure you can share this, that a lot of kids, they like the game. They just not, they don't love it. They don't have that dog.
Oh man, you touched the spot with me on that one. You know, when I got 3 categories when I recruit, bro. Okay. Three categories. The kids that like it, the kids that love it, the kids that live it. Right? If they like it, I don't recruit them. I don't recruit them because there are going to be some days they're not going to want to play.
Right.
And I'm going to ask them to do some things that, quite frankly, it may depend on how they feel that day. You don't win with kids like that. You get fired with kids like that. If you love it, I'm going to recruit you, because if you love it, there's a chance I may get you to live it. You may just be missing a couple things that you don't know about. But when lovers are seekers. You understand what I'm saying? When you love something, you're going to try to seek ways to get better. And then it becomes obsessive. Now you can graduate into living it. I live it. I don't expect everybody to treat it the way I do. It's giving me everything great in my life, literally. So my relationship with basketball, I can't even explain it. It's like being in love every single day, unconditionally, all over again.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I don't expect people to look at it that way. But when I'm watching you play, there are certain things from a body language standpoint, how certain things affect you, that I'm paying attention to. So I got 3 categories. You gotta be either in the second one or the third one for me to even look at you. And then from there, with us here, I got 3 F's that I pay attention to. The first one is fit. And that's where the athleticism comes in. We're full court pressing. We're trying to get out and run offensively. We want to play with a lot of pace. So you have to be somewhat of an athlete to be able to do that. All right. So you got to be able to fit what we're looking for in certain positions. So, and if you don't fit, no matter how good you are, you're not going to have the experience that you want or the success that you want. And we're not putting ourselves from a team standpoint in the best position to be successful. So fit's very important. And the second one, fire. That's that passion, bro. You got to have it. You got to have it. You got to be competitive. It has to hurt you that she scored on you. That has to pain you to the point to where you can't sleep at night if you miss a free throw. If somebody snatches a rebound away from you, that has to be a problem. You got to play with some passion, bro. I got to see that fire. I got to feel it. I don't want to see it. I got to feel that fire. A good song, you listening to it, but when you feel it, the head moves a little different. When I'm watching players, I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, she's a little different. She's a little different, And then the last one, which is kind of not a segue into what we're going to talk about next, but I kind of alluded to it previously. Got to have feel. Got to have feel for the game. Well, how do you get that? You got to play. And that's what I mean. Kids who don't play, you can't develop feel from a drill. That cone can't take it from you. All right. You see what I'm saying? It can't take it from you. I ain't seen a cone get a steal yet. Now, I'm not saying there's not a place for it. I'm just saying you can't substitute drill work for playing, because how will you ever know what will work if you don't spend time getting those reps in against real competition? So you can't develop feel without playing, bro. So you can't get away from that. I ain't never met a great basketball player who didn't like to play basketball. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to play 5-on-5. I just want to train. Well, you're not very good. Because what kills me is that if you know basketball, 85% of the game is played without the ball. Very few skilled individual training sessions I've seen where 85% was done without the ball. So what happens is you take that kid who's used to training and you put them with 4 other people, they can't play unless they got the ball in their hands. So I got to have a player who has a little bit of feel. And the only way you're going to get that is if you spend time playing.
You know what, Coach, man, getting into what we've been watching and enjoying and loving, The Last Dance. I mean, if you look at it, I don't think they would have made 72 wins without Dennis Rodman. I mean, you got somebody, you talk about a dog. A dog. Like, he sacrificed his body. He sacrifices so much for the game. And what the game, once you give something to the game is going to give you something that not even about the game that you'll enjoy after the game.
Ain't no doubt.
So
ain't no doubt.
Getting into that, man. Your thoughts on AAU? I know you said talking about feel and playing. So the AAU dynamic, what's your thoughts, or how's that going to it?
It's interesting, man. I played AAU myself. I played AAU myself. So I think it's definitely beneficial from an exposure standpoint. I think, anytime you can put yourself in a position to get your school paid for, that's great. So I think there's definitely a lot of positives that go along with AAU. My only issue with AAU is, like I said before, you got to play more than just that. You got to still play 5-on-5. You can't just go to practice once a week, or, you know, if your AAU team is out of your city, you're literally playing only on Saturday. It's the only time you're playing 5-on-5. It's not enough. You got to play more than that, man. You got to play more than that, man. The other problem I have with AAU, man, and this is just me personally, I'm gonna speak on it. I think a lot of times these AAU coaches, and I used to coach AAU myself, man. These AAU coaches, they ain't in it for the right reasons, bro. I mean, what are we in it for? It should be two reasons: to get kids scholarships, right, or keep kids off the street, give them something to do. All right, but you can't have half the team looking for scholarships and the other half basically you just give them something to do, because that's not fair. Because if your goal is to get kids scholarships, then don't be telling me you won 124 games and lost 3. Don't nobody care. How many scholarships did you produce? You know what I mean? You can't have 15 players on your team who you're saying you're trying to help them get scholarships, but you're only playing 6. Let them other players go somewhere else where they can get some playing time, right? So to me, you got to really identify why you're doing it. What are your objectives? Is it to get kids off the street, you know, teach them how to work well with others? That's great. I'm all for it. All right, cool. But don't be making these parents pay $900,000 lying, saying, if I take your child here, you know, he or she will have a good chance to get a scholarship. It's not even about that in that situation if you just help keeping them off the streets. Don't have people going broke, you know, because you want to go somewhere and win a championship so you can post, you know, you 125-4 and, you know, you won this many championships. You see what I'm saying? But these kids ain't really learning no life lessons, you know. And like I said, on the other side, if it's about exposure, if it's about scholarships, keep it about that. Put them in the best position to put themselves in front of coaches to get scholarships. So that means don't be playing tournaments that's costing these parents $1,200 and it's not even an evaluation period. Who you fooling? Come on, man. Stop that. Stop that, bro. Stop that. You should have 5 or 6 players, play them all 40 minutes if you can. Because you know why? You're just trying to get them a scholarship. But you got 14 players, 9 of them is paying. The other 6 ain't paying because these are your players. But you didn't lie to these parents, telling these parents that these other 9 kids gonna have a chance to play in front of college coaches, but they ain't playing nowhere. And then what happens? The kid leave, they go to another program. They don't play. They leave, they go to another program. And you know what happens when we get them? As soon as something don't go right, you know what they do? They transfer. Starts at the grassroots level, bro.
I agree, man. You know, it's rarely, I could be wrong, but did Larry Bird play for anybody besides the Celtics?
Nope.
Never did?
Magic? Nope.
Oh. So
I don't count Jordan.
See, that's a different.
Completely.
Did Kobe?
Nope.
So did Hakeem?
Yes, he actually he went to Toronto. He went to Toronto at the end. Yeah. Yep.
And so the thing about it is, it's not where it's like, I'm mad, I'm disappointed. No, it's called commitment.
And that's the thing, man. I tell my daughters that all the time. I said there's something, and I know the game is totally different, you know, now than it was back when I was coming up. And I don't want to be, you know, the old guy, get off my lawn. I don't want to be that guy. So I understand the eras are different, generations different. Right. But there's something to be said about fighting through adversity. There's something to be said about commitment. There's something to be said about loyalty. And that starts young. You know what I'm saying? Like, parents have to teach their children that young. Just because Sally didn't play on Friday does not mean you should let Sally quit and join another team. You see what I'm saying? Make Sally fight through something. Because if you running at 6 years old, you're going to be running at 7. So what happens? You change AAU teams in 6th grade. Then you change trainers. Then you change high schools. Then you change colleges. It becomes easy. This don't work, I'll just go over here. It's too easy to quit. It's too easy, bro. No loyalty, no commitment.
And you know what? This is what I'm looking at too. So I'm gonna change it just a little bit, but one of the things I've noticed, and I'm sure you got stories, that you have to look at a kid and evaluate a kid not by their talent, but you have to evaluate if they come to you or stay with you based on their parents.
Man, bro, you just said something there. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, you just said something there. I always look at how recruits treat their parents, because if they disrespect their parents, I can almost guarantee you eventually they're going to disrespect you. You know, and this is something real small too, man, I pay attention to. And maybe because I'm a little bit old school, but if you address your parent by their first name, I'm not recruiting you. I'm not recruiting you, period. I don't recruit kids who address their parents by their first name. And this going to sound a little weird. And I also have a hard time recruiting point guards who ain't got no brothers or sisters. That's just me. That's just me. That's just me. Yeah. If your point guard was an only child, good luck. I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying there is no, no outliers out there, but for the most part, Magic Johnson, big family. I'm trying to tell you, Isaiah Thomas, and they're usually the youngest. They've taught to fight, big family. You know, yeah, it's hard for me to recruit a point guard that's an only child.
Coach, I never saw that until now. It's like, if you're the only child, you ain't got to pass.
You ain't used to passing. You're not used to sharing. You're just not. Like I said, there's outliers, but that's just me personally. Because I've had a point guard that was an only child, and I'm like, why is she selfish? And I'm thinking to myself, dang, she's never had to really share with anybody. Great kid, just never really had to learn how to play with others, none of that. So if you call your mom or dad by their first name, Coach Ty's probably not going to recruit you. If you're a point guard that has no brothers or sisters, it's going to take a lot for me to recruit you. I got to do a lot of intel, a lot of intel.
Man, Coach, that's a nugget for me. That's a nugget for me because I got, let's take it a different turn as far as parents being involved. Have you ever been when a parent's too involved, you be like, oh, you off my list? Or
absolutely. Absolutely, bro. Yeah. If you look, if every time I see you, you're coaching from the sideline every single time, bro, I'm not dealing with that, because you know what happens? You're going to bring it to college. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop, So no, man, I don't, I like for a parent to be involved. Don't get me wrong, but there's a line. You got to draw a line, be there to support your kid. Don't take up for them. There's a difference. There's a difference.
And I like doing this because parents, they think I'm the bad guy. I'm like, I don't really have, that ain't my child. I'm just trying to prevent later on down the line when that kid figure out that coach don't want them no more because of you. I'm trying to safeguard that y'all relationship. Because if you take something from your child they work hard for.
No, I feel you, bro. Yeah, I feel you, man. 100%. 100%, man. I feel you. It's true though, man. Yeah, I've had I got friends who coach, who coach their kids, and I'm like, chill, just chill, let them play. Chill, let them play. There's a reason why there's a coach. Let them coach. I'm not saying don't support your child. I'm not saying work on certain things when they get home, but know when to draw the line. I got kids now. I got kids that are playing. When I go to games, you can tell because the coaches know I coach. I can tell that they're waiting on me to say something because they'll make a statement, or they'll tell the kids what to do, and then they'll turn around and look at me to see my reaction. And I have none. I'm coming to the game to be a dad. I'm not coming to the game to coach. Do your job. I know how hard it is. I'm just here to support and be a dad. That's it.
And you know what? There's a difference between coaching and cheering.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Since I'm in the profession, and it's like a couple times, and a lot of times I just be like this, and I might give like, hey, shoot, I know where the shot is. You shoot flat, but besides that, man, I try to my best to incorporate. What I think his name is Coach Martin. He coaches at coach at? He used to coach at Kansas State.
South Carolina.
There it is. He said,
yeah, Frank Martin.
I don't say a peep. And you know
nothing.
How emotional he is as a coach. He'd be like.
Exactly. I don't say nothing. Just play. You can't play and look up at me and look at the coach at the same time. It's too many distractions. Just play. You know, when we get home, and I don't even, when we go home, I'm not one that you should have did this, you should have did that. Sometimes I think it's important for them to try to figure it out on their own. Now, if you ask me, I'm going to be honest with you, but I don't want you walking to the car like, oh my God, this ride is going to be long. No, no. Did you have fun? Were you a good teammate? Did you have good body language? You know, those are the things I'm more concerned about. You know, whether or not you made shots or whether or not you forgot a play, I could care less. Were you a good teammate? Did you have fun? Did you play hard? Okay, we good. Now, if they say, well, Dad, you know, can you help me work on my shot? Absolutely. You know, if this is what you really want. Dad, can you help me work on my handle? Oh, no doubt. If this is what you really want, that's how I am.
Wow. So, Coach, man, a day-to-day, what's a daily schedule for a coach as well as a player in and out of season?
In season, it's hectic, bro. You putting in 12 to 15-hour days, man. I usually get to the office around 7, and we'll practice from like 2:30 to, I mean, on an average with film and meetings and things like that. We're out of there probably about 5:30. So then after that, you may watch a little bit of practice film, make a couple calls. So I'm usually home about anywhere between 6:30 and 7. So you're talking about 12 hours, man, in season. Out of season, it's not as intense, you know, but I still get in around the same time because I'm a routine oriented guy. I got to go in, I got to work out, I got to go through my woosah. That's just me, you know, but I usually get out of there a little earlier off season, probably about 5 o'clock. In terms of players, you know, with us, like I said, we'll start practice 2:30, go to about 5. So their first class is usually around 8 o'clock. So you go to class, then in between classes, you probably got tutors, you probably got mentors, rehab, and then we force our kids, not force, but we make sure our kids get in at least 10 hours of study hall a week. So you got to figure out on your own how to manage that time. So we help them with mentors and tutors how to, you know, with how to manage their time. But to be a Division I college athlete or a coach, bro, it's time consuming, man. You got to really commit to it if you want something out of it.
So what I'm hearing, it ain't no time for mom and dad to be on the phone all the time because they tired.
Yeah, they don't have time. They're probably FaceTime I'm going to class or FaceTime I'm after practice. They'll figure out a way to get it in, you know, but the truly great ones, you know, the ones who end up being successful, they learn how to prioritize very early, man, and they're very routine oriented. They stick to a certain script. And those are the ones who usually have the most success.
Man, I get it. I get it. I played at every level. So it's like, people like, hey, and here's what parents don't understand. And I've actually heard parents, when I was in the losing culture program, I've actually heard parents say, we playing on Thanksgiving, on Christmas. I'm like, that lets me know you might not be ready for that.
Yeah, you recruited the wrong one. Yeah. You can't have them seasonal players. I only want to play sometimes. You know, those sometime players get you fired. They also come with, I call them summer jumpers. Some of the time it goes in, some of the time it don't. Because you ain't putting in that time. You want to work when you want to work, when it's convenient for you. There's a certain word that's called sacrifice. Sacrifice means you got to give up something that you want in order to get something else that you really, truly want. All right, it's not a sacrifice if you ain't giving up something that you want. So you may be giving up Thanksgiving. You may be giving up Christmas to get that ring in March. But you know what you signed up for. So yeah, absolutely. There's no days off, none.
You know, Coach, there's a difference between an inconvenience and a sacrifice.
Absolutely. So, absolutely. Absolutely.
I just tell them, man. So, but yeah, man, hey, you've been in the game for a minute, man. It seems like, man, that God has really blessed you. You favored.
Bro, man, God has blessed me, man, so much, man. I think about it every day. I'm so thankful, man, and so humbled just to be in this position, to be able to help others, man. And that's what I'm really in it for, man. I'm just trying to give out nuggets, man. I don't know how much time I got left, so I'm trying to give everything I got away every day. So I try to help as many people as I can, man. I'm about servant leadership, and hopefully, you know, other people can take what I give them and pay it forward, man. That's what I'm all about, man. I'm gonna do this, man. I'm not retiring. You know, I'm gonna always be doing something with basketball. This is not a job for me. This is a passion. You feel me?
You're a lifer.
Man, this is what I do. It's who I am. I love basketball, man. I love it, man. I love it.
That's beautiful, man. Coach, I greatly appreciate it, man. If you in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you gotta hit me up.
Oh, you know I am. No doubt. No doubt, bro. You ain't got to worry about that. No doubt.
Because if I get in Bama, I'm just like, say, man, let me hit.
Come holler at me. So. I got you, boy. We go get some lemon pepper wings, man, and sit and talk basketball all night, bro. That's what we gonna do, no doubt.
Because I know Bama got some spots. I know Bama got some barbecue down there, don't they?
Oh yeah, they got some barbecue, no question. But I'm a lemon pepper wing guy, bro. I'm a lemon pepper wing guy. Yeah. I'm a lemon pepper wing guy. So I got a spot for you. Come on down and holler at me.
Likewise, I got a nice little burger spot up here, man. But I tell you, I don't know if you eat burgers.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Do I eat burgers? Oh, you think I eat what? Impossible burgers? The vegan burgers? Nah, man. I work out so I can eat burgers. No doubt.
Man, Coach, I enjoyed it, man. I appreciate it. We're going to be in contact, man.
Okay. All right. Will do, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. Good talking to you. Good seeing you again, bro. You're looking good.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, you stay safe, man.
Okay. You too, bro. You and the fam. Much love. All right.